If you like storytime vibes, hit subscribe and let's dive in together.
I planned a dream, but I witnessed a nightmare. She thought I was just some clueless sugar daddy, easily manipulated, blinded by her cheap charm. She was wrong. She was flirting with the bartender at her own engagement party, the ring still warm in my pocket. And in that moment, I realized the whole damn thing was a transaction, and she was overcharging. For a month, I'd lived and breathed this night, an intimate engagement party in the luxurious VIP suite of the Grand Hyatt. Soft lighting, a curated playlist, our closest friends. Every detail was a reflection of the future I believed we were building. Perfect, seamless, and exclusive. I pictured her face when I slipped the 3-carat diamond onto her finger, the one I'd spent 6 months designing. Her name is Veronica. My name is Elijah. It was supposed to be the beginning of our forever, but it became the brutal end of my naivete. I had stepped out briefly to finalize a champagne reorder, feeling the intoxicating buzz of a man on the brink of absolute happiness. When I came back, the room was missing its most crucial piece. I couldn't find her. A little strange, I thought, but I dismissed it. Maybe she was in the powder room. I felt a nervous, proud heat in my chest as I fingered the ring box in my tuxedo pocket. The music felt louder. The laughter seemed sharper. Then, a friend pointed towards the lobby bar, outside the VIP suite, visible through the etched glass doors. "Hey, isn't that Veronica?" The sight hit me like a physical blow. Not a polite conversation, not a quick hello. This was a spectacle. She was leaning against the counter, her dress a shimmering, scandalous distraction. The man across from her wasn't a guest. He wore the black vest of a bartender. Veronica was too close, her hand resting on his forearm, her head tilted back in that laugh, the one I thought was reserved only for my best jokes. She was radiating a blatant, raw sexuality, a performance for the public that made my stomach churn with a sickening realization. The carefully constructed world of Us was a cheap, flimsy stage set, and I, the producer, was watching her audition for a new role. A wave of nausea washed over me. I wasn't just hurt, I was watching my entire future crumble into dust. This wasn't distance, this was disrespect. She was flaunting her availability, not miles away, but right outside the party I had thrown to commit my life to her. The air changed around me. I didn't rush in screaming. That would have been giving her the fight she probably expected, a desperate man clinging to a woman who didn't want him. No, I moved with a cold, terrifying calm. Every deliberate step across the marble floor was a stake driven through my pride. The thought hit me. This lavish party, the bespoke tux, the 3-carat promise. It wasn't a foundation. It was just a setup for her to feel more desirable, to flaunt her market value, using my commitment as her backdrop. She wasn't just checking out, another guy. She was using me as a stepping stone. I was the financial security she tolerated, and he was the validation she truly craved. She was turning her engagement party into her own humiliating public spectacle. I stopped directly in front of them, letting the sheer weight of my presence crush the playful atmosphere. The music seemed to mute. The bartender, a pale, nervous young guy, stiffened, sensing the sudden shift from flirtation to confrontation. Veronica, bathed in the soft bar light, tilted her head, her smile still plastered on, assuming I was just another admiring shadow come to join the fun. That innocent, dismissive smile was the final insult. It said, "You don't matter. This ring doesn't matter. Your effort is irrelevant." My hand went to my pocket, but I didn't pull out the ring immediately. I took out the custom-made box, flipped the lid, and let the overhead spotlight catch the fire of the diamond, the very symbol of my profound, foolish faith. Then, with a voice devoid of any warmth, any anger, just flat surgical finality, I said the words that shattered her carefully curated reality. "I think this belongs back to me." Her face collapsed instantly. The seductive arch of her eyebrow evaporated, replaced by wide, stunned disbelief. "Wait, what are you doing?" she stammered, the panic in her tone a delicious sound to my ears. She actually thought she could laugh this off, maybe even charm her way out of the humiliation. But I didn't give her an argument, I gave her an execution. I held the open box steady. This ring was meant to symbolize a lifetime together, I explained, the words chillingly polite. But clearly that's not what you wanted. You wanted freedom. Consider it delivered. She stood there, mouth agape, realizing she hadn't just lost a ring. She had lost the financial engine of her future, right in front of the audience she'd tried to impress. Her cheeks flushed a vibrant, ugly red, a mixture of anger, deep embarrassment, and raw panic. She had been so bold, so shameless just moments ago, leaning into him, twirling her hair, making sure everyone saw her perceived power. Now, every whisper, every exchanged glance among the guests magnified her humiliation tenfold. She wanted attention, and she got it, in the most brutal, undeniable way. The man who was supposed to be her rock, her mark, was walking away with his pride intact, leaving her exposed, vulnerable, and powerless. I calmly placed the ring box back into my inner jacket pocket, a final, quiet action that spoke volumes. It wasn't about the rock, it was about the respect she had so carelessly thrown away. Her assumption was that my love, or, failing that, my ego, would keep me chained to her. She thought I would beg, argue, or at least put up a messy fight. I did none of those things. I simply executed my decision. I turned my back on her, a finality so absolute it made her hands fly to her mouth. "Excuse me, everyone," I announced, my voice carrying over the stunned silence, directed at the VIP room. "The celebration is over. The engagement is officially off. Veronica, you'll find that the financial arrangements we discussed are also now non-existent. The shared lease, the joint bank accounts, the financing for the car, all being terminated effective immediately. Enjoy your freedom." Her eyes widened in panic, tears welling up as she finally understood the full, chilling gravity of the situation. She reached out, frantic, trying to spin a justification, a quick apology. But it was too late. She had relied entirely on my money, my network, my stability. I was simply removing her foundation. I didn't need to argue. I didn't need to fight. My actions, swift and authoritative, were the only conversation necessary. I didn't pause to admire my work. As I walked deliberately toward the exit, my phone was already in my hand. I wasn't just leaving a party, I was dismantling a life. First call, bank. A few quick coded phrases to my wealth manager. Immediately suspend the joint platinum card. All credit lines attached to my personal accounts are frozen, effective now. And yes, that includes the $2,000 allowance for her shopping habit. That allowance was her oxygen. I imagined the look on her face when the card declined at the first boutique she rushed to. Second call, lease. The luxury apartment lease, which was solely under my name but paid for by me, was terminated with the 30-day clause. Send the notice of non-renewal immediately. I need the keys back by the end of the month. She had zero savings. She was about to be homeless in the lavish city she adored, all within the space of 4 weeks. Third call, car. The financing for the new convertible she drove. My name was the primary guarantor. I contacted the dealer. I'm executing the buyback clause. Collect the vehicle within 48 hours. The car wasn't just transportation. It was her status symbol, her rolling throne. As I executed these financial demolitions, I heard a sound from behind, a pathetic, choked sob that cut through the thinning crowd. She had followed me. "Elijah, please," she whispered, her voice cracking, reaching out to clutch my arm. "It was just a stupid, drunken mistake. He meant nothing. You know I love you. I need you." I stopped, but I didn't turn around. I kept my back to her, forcing her to speak to my shadow, to the suit she had disrespected. Her apology wasn't about remorse. It was about the sound of my credit card being instantly declined. She wasn't apologizing for the betrayal. She was apologizing for the loss of her safety net. "You need me?" I finally said, my voice low and dangerous, forcing myself to recall the sight of her leaning against that bartender. "No, Veronica. You need the 3 zero-interest accounts, the rent-free living, and the social standing. Love? You confused my commitment with weakness and my generosity with an ATM with better access." I took a slow, deep breath, delivering the final, crushing blow. I spent a month preparing the perfect proposal, pouring my heart and money into celebrating us. And you spent that time validating your fleeting desirability with strangers, right outside the door. You reduced me to a fool on the grandest stage I could afford. That level of disrespect is unforgivable. I am not angry, Veronica. I am done. You got the freedom you craved. Live with it. I felt her hands drop from my arm. The silence that followed was heavy, complete. It wasn't a silence of respect, but the terrified quiet of someone who had just realized the floor beneath them was gone. I could hear her gasping, not from grief, but from the brutal shock of consequence. That was the sound of her carefully constructed life imploding. I finally reached the exit of the suite, the heavy oak door symbolizing the barrier between the life she ruined and the freedom I had just claimed. I didn't glance back, though every cell in my body urged me to witness the final crushing moment of her shame. I knew she was still there, sinking to her knees perhaps as the reality set in that her confidence, her charm, her cheap flirtation could not, would never replace the foundation of respect, honesty, and loyalty. Stepping out into the cold night air, leaving the stifling heat of the party behind, a profound sense of catharsis washed over me. It wasn't the satisfaction of revenge, but the quiet, liberating peace of realizing my self-worth. I had chosen to walk away with authority, rather than stay and beg like a fool. I didn't need an argument. My actions had spoken louder than any confrontation ever could. She wanted the spotlight. I gave her the stage to witness her own unraveling. I hailed a cab. As the taxi pulled away, the dazzling, cruel lights of the Grand Hyatt shrunk in the rearview mirror. I hadn't just broken off an engagement. I'd taught a vital, devastating lesson to someone who desperately needed to learn it, that the price of treating a good man like an option is the immediate, non-negotiable cancellation of every privilege he afforded you. I looked at the ring box in my hand, no longer a symbol of love, but a receipt for a lesson learned. Expensive. Yes. Worth it? Every single cent.